Hi guys, and welcome to Escape Wheel Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the Berny model 2845M. I received this watch for free. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. No matter how I get a watch in on this channel, you're always going to get my honest opinion every single time. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. This time, not going to be an affiliate link to AliExpress. I could not find this watch on the official AliExpress page. I did find it on some other stores, but I will be leaving the bernywatch.com site down below. That's the official website that you can order it through. According to the website, the retail price is $119 US. That's before any taxes, sales, coupons, etc. They do participate in the sale, so if you are patient, you should be able to save a little bit of money on this one. I've seen this thing go for under $100 US during the sales. The watch is available in 5 different colorways that you can see here on screen. I like that they went with the traditional colors as well as some more playful colors. The watch case is made of 316L stainless steel. It has a sapphire crystal with anti-reflective coating, a push-pull crown, a screwed-in case back, 30 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko VK68 Mecha Quartz movement. This is a fairly rare watch in the Chinese watch world, a Navitimer adjacent watch that snuck past the Breitling lawyers somehow. If you look around, there's not too many Navitimer homages on the market, period, let alone in the Chinese world. I think Rotary has one, Stour had one, which I actually had and it broke, so I wouldn't suggest that one. So yeah, I say we get right into it. Let's see how Berny did with this model. But before we do a quick wrist check as always, wearing the new St. Martin SN0144 GX. Absolutely loving this watch. It is incredible. Review for this one is still in the works, but yeah, really good one. I'd say if you're interested, get it. All right, let's get into dimensions. We've got a bezel diameter of 42.9 millimeters, case thickness of 13.2 millimeters, got a 20 millimeter lug width, lug tip to lug tip of 49.8 millimeters, and sized up for my 7.5 inch wrist with 2 links removed. It weighs 145 grams. So being a Navitimer, you would expect this thing to be pretty big, and it is. It's 40, almost 43 at the bezel. The case is a little bit smaller, as you can see there. Measured that at 41, but I mean, I still think it wears pretty good. Pretty long as well, 50 lug to lug, but I think it's all proportional. If you guys like the bigger watches, you're going to like this one. I think the thickness is also proportional. I think it looks good. Yeah, and it's got some pretty good turn down to the lugs as well. I like the bracelet. It tapers to 18 millimeters, so it does feel pretty balanced on wrist, and I do like the way that it wears, despite being a little outside of my comfort zone when it comes to watch sizes. So yeah, I'm going to go outside right now and throw it on my wrist for you. And here we are on my 7.5 inch wrist, and as you can see, it does wear big. It's all glass. So yeah, I mean, it wears big as you would expect, but I think it wears pretty good. You can see there, nice turn down to the lugs, and I like all the polished accents on this watch, on the bracelet, on the case itself. I think it all looks pretty good. Popping out in some direct sunlight, you can see here, looking pretty good. Anti-reflective coating is actually pretty darn good on this thing, no washout really. You can see the different textures on the dial. I think it all looks pretty nice. Alright, let's go throw this on some straps and let's get back to this review. Alright, first up we've got a brown leather rally strap. This is from Undone. Really nice strap, and I believe you can actually buy these now. Yeah, pretty happy with these straps, and I think that looks really, really good on that. What do you guys think? Hey, here we are on a black leather strap, just a simple black leather with some texture on it. I think that looks pretty good too. I mean, it's hard to go wrong with a black leather. What do you think? And if you guys have been watching my reviews this summer, you'll know I couldn't do a review without featuring a cut-to-size FKM strap. This one in brown, I think it looks alright. Not my favorite one, but I still think it looks pretty good. What do you guys think? Alright, I got one last one to throw it on, and we'll get back to this review. And lastly, here we are on a nylon strap, 2 layers underneath the watch there. I think it still wears okay. Figured I'd throw some color at this thing. Got a little bit of red accents on the dial there, so figured this maroon strap would look pretty good. What do you guys think? Alright, let's go back inside. Let's get back to this review. Alright, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. We'll talk about the bezel here separately, but the case finishing is done pretty good. Berny is usually hit or miss for me when it comes to the case finishing. This is a hit for me. So on the tops of the lugs here, You have a nice satinized vertical brushing. It flows with the case nicely, or flows with the bracelet nicely. And then on the sides, you have high polish, as you can see there. Really nicely done. I see no real issues there. I can't complain for the price especially. You get these nice high polished chamfers as well. Nice sharp transitions. They did a good job. I've got no complaints at all. The crowns and the pushers here, they're non-screw down, all of them are. So just a push-pull crown there, unsigned. It does look pretty good. I like the design of it. It's not just a standard crown there. But 6.3 millimeters, I think is what I measured that at. Everything looks good. There's no decoration on any of those things, so it's a little bit bland, but I still think the case is done pretty nicely. There's no sharp edges on the bottom here. Yeah, I think they did a good job. They did a really good job. Flipping it to the case back here, you have a screw down case back, simple notches to get the tool in there. And then you have your spec sheet on the inside there with the Berny model number. And then you do have some conversions here. I'm not even going to pretend to know what those are used for. I guess it's nice to have it on there if you're into that stuff. But yeah, it's just a bunch of gibberish to me. I mean, obviously conversions are helpful, but we've got the internet, we've got phones and all that stuff, so not a big deal. All right, so let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So bezel is really interesting. I'm not going to pretend to know what any of this stuff is other than, obviously like the cardinal directions here. You do have a loomed pip there at the 12 o'clock position, so you could use this for timing stuff at night. But yeah, it's an interesting bezel, really nicely done, circular brushing, plenty of grip on it as well. You can see the bezel kind of undercuts itself here, so it looks really good, but you got plenty of grip there. And it is a bidirectional friction bezel. The friction, I'd say, is pretty high, so you do need to turn this, with some force. But it's nice and smooth. There's no real high or low spots or anything like that. So I'm pretty happy with the bezel action on this thing. You can see the inner ring there rotating as well. Again, I'm not even going to pretend to know how to use this bezel. I kind of know what it is. You can rotate this thing to find different distances or something. I don't even know. But it's all about the looks, right? It's not about the functionality. We have computers and all that stuff now, but before, when this watch was popular and invented, that was pretty useful information. So yeah, if you need it, I guess it's there. But I'm here to say the bezel is actually pretty good. It's very solid. It's not going to budge, and yeah, it doesn't like wobble or anything like that. So really nicely done on the bezel. All right, let's talk about the crystal. First things first, we'll test for sapphire. And it is positive for sapphire. So it is sapphire crystal. It's a double dome sapphire crystal, as you can see there, and it has some clear anti-reflective coating on it. So they did a nice job with it. They chose a good crystal. It's a very subtle double dome there. You can see it sits ever so slightly above the bezel, but just in general, it's a good crystal. It's a nice big piece of crystal, so they had to choose a good one, and I think they did. I think they really did. Obviously, we could always use more anti-reflective coating, but I think the amount that they chose for this is perfect. I think they did a very nice job choosing this crystal. All right, so let's talk about the dial on this thing, and the dial is, there's a lot going on, a lot. Obviously, we talked about the rotating bezel there, but inside of that, you have another scale track that I'm not sure what it is. And then inset on that is a printed minute track, and then you have your applied indices at all the hour markers there. They all look really good. The applied indices are done very nicely, really nice, high polish, and they're multifaceted as well, so they kind of catch the light and they sparkle nicely. I'm pretty happy with that. At the end of each of those indexes, there is a little plot of Lume too, so we'll talk about the Lume here in just a little bit, but overall, pretty happy with that. So the background of the dial itself, as you can see, it's concentric circles all the way around. It's not a brushed surface. It's kind of like the subdials that you see. Those are also concentric circles there, but it's an interesting dial finish. I haven't seen one like this before, but it's really nicely done. I've got no issues with it at all. It kind of gives off a sunburst effect without being a sunburst dial. So I'm pretty happy with that. You have your Berny branding there with the Berny B. That's a very stylized B. I know they've had that logo for a while. It just fits perfectly on this watch for obvious reasons. If you know the inspiration behind this watch, that B looks pretty familiar. Then you have your Berny text there. It is in silver. It's not in white. So yeah, I mean, it just looks really good. The whole layout is very traditional. You have your 3 silver subdials there, running seconds down here. You have your minute counter there, and then the 24-hour hand there. You do have a date window here between 4 and 5 o'clock. Everything is centered in there nicely. It's a very busy dial, but I think well executed. I think they did a pretty good job with it. The handset that they used, really nicely done. Again, multifaceted, good size as well. Get your red tip to the chronograph seconds hand there. Everything functions as you would expect it to. Everything looks nice and everything is aligned nicely. So yeah, I've got no major complaints with the dial. I think it's one of the highlights of the watch. That concentric pattern looks incredible. I think the other dials might be a little bit different, so just keep that in mind. Look at those pictures a little more closely. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm pretty happy with the Lume on this watch. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot here. You can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. It is BGW9, so you get that nice ice blue glow, and it is so good that it doesn't deserve to be this good on a watch at this price, and it's a chronograph. So yeah, the other watches that are shown there, those are also really good, and this one blows those away. So yeah, the Lume on this watch, as always with Berny, they always do a good job with their Lume. The Lume on this one is actually really, really impressive. All right, let's talk about the movement inside. So the movement is the Seiko VK68. It's listed as the Seiko VK68, but it's not. The VK68 has these subdials up a little higher. So I'm pretty sure this is the Seiko VK63. It's a Mecha Quartz from Seiko, and it is accurate, reliable, plus or minus 20 seconds per month is the stated accuracy, but they're much, much, much more reliable than that. The only real negative of these things is the 24-hour dial here. Some people just don't like that. And I get it. I wish that was a hour totalizer, but this is the cards were dealt with this movement. If you want a nice, reliable 3 subdial movement with a sweeping chronograph seconds hand there and nice feedback here, this is the only option we have. And so we're gonna have to live with that until Seiko fixes it. So, but besides that, these movements are excellent. Really, really happy with them. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say that hasn't been said before about this movement. It's great. I have plenty of them. It's operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown. Actually, I'm going to reset this chronograph here. So you push it to start the chronograph, you push it to stop the chronograph, and then you push the bottom button here to reset the chronograph. It snaps right back into place. Everything aligns nicely as well, so really happy with that. The crown action here is just a push-pull crown. So first position is your date change. Second position, hacks the movement, and this is where you set your time. The alignment was spot on. Yeah, I mean, it just functions like you would expect it to. So overall, very happy with the movement, very happy with the crowns, the crown actions, the buttons, the resets, and all that stuff. Yeah, it's just a great movement and well executed. All right, so let's talk about the bracelet on this watch. So the bracelet is actually pretty good. I was skeptical or hesitant on this watch just because I've had Berny bracelets in the past and they haven't been the best. This one is actually pretty decent. So you have 5 solid links here. You have solid end links as well, female pivot end links. You can see the bracelets are kind of, or the middle links there are kind of cut on little angles there. Again, another nod to the Navitimer, but nicely done. You've got no real play in the end links. You do have some cheap spring bars. I had some issues getting those back on the watch, but yeah, once they're on the watch, they're fine. But you can see here, the polishing has some streaking in it, but it's what you expect at this price point. The brushing is actually nicely done. I've got no issues with the brushing. You have polished on the sides, split pins for sizing. I removed 2 for my 7.5-inch wrist. The tolerances on these links, pretty nice actually. There doesn't appear to be any rattle or anything like that, or not too much rattle. Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's comfortable. Fluidity, no issues. It doesn't pull hairs or anything like that. So overall, I am pretty satisfied with the bracelet. You can see the end link fitment on the case is done nicely as well. It does stick out just a hair, but not anything to affect wearability in my opinion. The main issue I have with the bracelet is the clasp. So here's the clasp here, and it is it's just nasty. I don't understand why they chose this clasp. I know they have different ones. I know they have better ones in their collection. So you have this polished fold over here, and then it's just a friction fit. So you don't have the 2 button pushers here. So it's just a friction fit. It's milled on the inside, so everything functions nicely there. It opens and closes like you would expect it to, but I just don't understand why they chose this. Just a pressed outer shell, 4 levels of micro adjust. It's a nice low profile and small clasp, but the watch head is pretty big and heavy, so it does feel a little top heavy. I wish they would have put a more substantial clasp on it. I just don't understand why they went with this one. So yeah, just something that they could upgrade in the future. It functions fine and it's not sharp or anything like that. So It's not too bad. It's pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie, it's pretty bad. They could and they should upgrade this clasp. Just to match better with the case size. I mean, it's just too small, and there's no branding on it either, which is kind of odd, since they have pretty much everything else branded. And yeah, it's just an odd choice for me. Functionality, it functions fine, but yeah, could be a lot better. Other than that, though, I think the bracelet is actually pretty darn good. Probably one of the better bracelets you're going to find on a watch in $100 price range. All right, so there you go, guys. That is the Berny model 2845M. For $100 about, you're getting a nice crystal, really good lume, good design if you're into this. I know it's a very polarizing design, but if you like it, right? The bracelet is actually pretty good. The clasp is really my only negative of this thing. There's not too much to complain about. That clasp is the one thing that I would complain about. But besides that, the watch is actually pretty darn good. I love the dial on it. I think the dial is really cool, and I do personally like the design of it. I think the size is pretty good too. Thankfully, it wasn't 46 millimeters like a Navitimer is. It's more manageable, but still pretty big. So if you guys want a substantial chronograph, this is probably a good one to choose. Yeah, you know, I actually don't mind the branding. I think the B on this one looks pretty good. So yeah, I think that's it for me, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.